Up, there we go. All right. So again, welcome everybody. Let's share and invite others to join us. Uh, I am like crazy excited about this, and I'm looking forward to it. So again, Dr. Wilson, thank you. Um, uh, Thank you for taking time to grow with us and to help us to be better. And so I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can now lead us in our time tonight. Let's
Okay.
talk.
All right. Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Mia Wilson. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida. I'm also a certified addiction professional, certified traumatologist, and I'm nationally board and certified as a counselor as well. And so I'm really excited. I've been in the field now, in the counseling field now for 23 years. I can't believe how fast time is flying. And so this is just one of the topics. Mental health is very near and dear to my heart. And I love to be able to just get out there and just to debunk a lot of the stigma that we have, because we know that mental health is an important part of our health. I mean, we do have our physical health, and that's important, but our mental health is just as important. And so tonight, I'm really excited about the topic. We're going to talk about managing the new normal, which I thought was a pretty interesting topic because even though we're living through this pandemic, we also have some things just don't, I mean, ours it stays the same. So in other words, we're going to have a birthday. This 2020 does not does not take away our birthday. Now, how we celebrate our birthday, it may change. But we're going to have birthdays. We're going to have babies are going to be born. We're going to have funerals. So some things are still the norm. It's just how are we managing this new norm through this pandemic. So if you're like me, I can't keep up with my days. Mondays roll into Tuesdays and the weekends. And so people at this juncture, we're like been 5.5 months, almost 6 months into this pandemic. And a lot of times people are just tired. We're exhausted. And so if you're feeling exhausted, yeah, it's pretty the norm because people our way of living has shifted and changed. And so people are like, we walking through our homes and we're just like, yep, seen this room. Yep, seen that room. Yep, already cleaned my house. Yep, already rearranged my furniture. Boy, I'm making Amazon really happy. I'm just sitting at home. I have nothing else to do. And so we just trying to just kind of navigate this new norm. We don't get to go out like we would normally do or get to engage in activities that we would like to do. We don't get to go and visit our loved ones in the hospital like we want to do or go in the nursing home and visit. So it really has changed the way that we're living. And with all of this, it's accumulating a lot of different stressors. And again, we're 5.5 months into this thing, almost 6 months. And at this time, we're having what we call cumulative stressors. They're just stacking. So one of the things that we're dealing with is our own personal stress. Now, if you're an extrovert like I am, I like to get out there. I like to have my girls' night out. I like to get engaged around people. And so this being with this pandemic and being quarantined and kind of limited of what I can do, there's a time that we start feeling disconnected from people. It's only but so many Zooms, only Zoom connections that we can do. And so we start feeling isolated. Even if you're around other people, we can start feeling isolated. As well as there's some people, they can have a fear of getting sick. No, we hear on the news constantly about how many people are sick and how many people are dying. We don't necessarily hear about how many people are surviving it, even though that number is probably larger, much larger than the ones that people are dying. And so we're also being tired of being stuck in the house. Now, even if you're an introvert and you're kind of like a homebody, we even introverts are like, I don't like the fact that I don't have a choice. I like being a homebody, but when the choices are kind of taken away from us, it's not the same. And so that's our personal stress, and we may have some other ones, but those are just some examples. And then we have financial stress. So in this pandemic, we're having to deal with some job losses, possible job losses, layoffs, change of positions, decrease in income, having to apply for unemployment. And so we have that kind of stress. Now, even if my job is good, my spouse or my significant other may be looking at being or in facing layoffs. And then we have family stress. Now, we love our family. We love our family. But being around them 24/7, if I'm working from home, my spouse is working from home, my kids are at home, yeah. After a while, it's like, I love my kids, but they are getting on my last nerve. I need a break. Where we would normally have those breaks, we don't have those breaks as we would normal. Normally, like in the summertime, we can ship them off to a camp. But now some of the camps are virtual. So they're still at home. And so being able to and then some families are having to learn how to balance working from home and caring for your children at the same time, and then having to do household responsibilities. Now, some people are like, oh, I love this fact that I can come home, I can work from home. And they love it. They love being able to just roll out of their bed, go into the next room, and boom, I'm at work. And they love it. And also, I'm in private practice um, here in Jacksonville. And so the other things I've heard is that some people are the opposite. They can't stand being at home because it's like the walls are just caving in on them. And so having to be able to just having to sit at home, you have kids, and then you have to stop, go on break, and help the children at school and back and forth and trying to care for them. If you have a loved one at home that you're caretaking, you know, it's not that you don't mind taking care of others, but it starts getting heavy. What already was once stressful is now becoming even more stressful. Um, and and also, situations and people that would not necessarily get on your nerves, now they're getting on your nerves. Just ordinary things that not normally would bother you. All right. And then we have culture stress. So culture stress is like, worrying about what's going to happen to the culture of my community. My favorite restaurant. I don't know if my favorite restaurant is going to survive this. We hear on the news where stores are closing down, not Amazon, but stores are closing down and restaurants are closing down, and who can survive this and who can't survive this. And so one of the things is my favorite gym going to be open. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this. And so that's stressing me out. The other thing, other cultural stress is what's going on in this society. And so we're dealing with social injustice. Now, even though that may not be happening directly to me, but because it's happening to people who look like me, that causes a stressor. Or people that are being targeted, they look like me. And that's a stressor, and what we call vicarious trauma. I may not be directly impacted by it, but it does impact me because of the fact of who they are. Okay. Or the other thing that might be happening is just triggers. So I may have an experience that is similar to um, uh, being involved with the police, and I'm just using that example, or being followed in the store, and then I see this on television. And so that might bring back all of those memories and feelings that has been going on. All right. And so this accumulated stress is also being um, encompassed by the news. And so every time we're looking at the news, I don't know about you, but if I hear I'm sick and tired, I know that the information about COVID-19 is very important, but I'm sick and tired of hearing about COVID-19 and about certain things. So, listening to all of that on top of, the news is not the most positive platform that we have. It's anything that's negative, it's going to be reported. And so after a while, when we keep hearing that over and over and over again, it starts to do something to our emotional health. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Before I was a therapist, I was a reporter. And so I know that the news is designed to just pull you in. So the best way to pull us in is we take a situation and you add and dramatize it. Not to say that it's not true, but I'm gonna add a little extra to it just to emotionally pull you in. And so I just make sure I just get just enough news where it's like, okay, just give me the headline and I'm good. I don't need to hear anything else, because outside of that, now they're looking at different angles of the same story. And so too much of that, it starts to wear on us, as well as the social media. Now, I like a good social media as well as anybody else. But again, it's a lot of now with the social media, I don't know what's biased, what's unbiased, um, and so who's doing what, who's not doing what. And so this fear of missing out, people get sucked into the social media, but I don't know, a lot of things can be untruths as well. And so that can also cause a lot of drama. Now, I can't tell you how many couple counseling and marriage counseling where Facebook, um, Instagram, text messaging came up in the session. How often that social media, and so sometimes it's good to be like, yeah, you know what, I need to back off of social media and maybe detox off that thing for for a month or two, or even a week, just to get away, because that can also add to our stress and anxiety. So some of the things that people are experiencing, we're getting anxious, we're feeling anxious. And so if you already had problems with anxiety before this pandemic, people are noticing that their anxiety is really increasing. And so some things that look like anxiety is like you feel like you're on edge, you feel like something bad is about to happen. You notice that you're saying a lot of what ifs. Well, what if? And it's always negative. Well, what if I get sick and I end up in the hospital? Well, what if something happens to, so it's always that what if. We also notice that we're very hyper, and so we're very, to seem like we're on alert. Like, okay, I'm waiting for that next shoe to drop. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm ready. It's like being um, in battle gear and there's no war, but I'm waiting. I'm ready for it. And then we're irritable. And I just read this article from Verizon, and they said, why the people that were coming in there was the customers. They were on 10. They were so angry. And my phone is not working properly. And people are just on edge. And so we get to this point now, we're feeling frustrated, we're feeling irritable. Again, these is all part of stress. And when we are like, our stress gets prolonged because we're not built for a long periods of distress. So you have to remember that. There's also change in sleeping. People are not sleeping as well. And so they're not sleeping good, or they're waking up in the middle of the night, or they're having problems falling asleep. So some people are noticing the change in their sleeping habits. Well, when we're doing but we're doing a lot of activities via internet. And so that's a lot of blue light coming in. So we might entertain ourselves with watching a lot of television, or we Netflix binging, watching. Um, because, I'm exhausted, really. I'm active because I've been going to work, but or I'm productive because I'm going to work, I'm getting my work done, but I'm not as active as I once was. I'm not sure if I want to go to the gym. And I know they're getting ready to open the movie theaters next month, September. And there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know, to sit out there in the movie theater for 2 hours with a mask on. I don't know. People are a little hesitant. Um, but in the sense where our routine is kind of knocked off, and so our sleeping patterns are changing. So, but with a lot of this blue light that's on our beautiful electronics, our phones, our tablets, that's a lot of blue light. Now, what the blue light does is keep you very alert. And so it almost tricked the brain into not producing a lot of melanin. Now, melanin is used when we get that nice, good sleep. I mean, good sleep. You're like, oh, man, that was great. And so that blue light from our screens that give us that nice, crisp, all these nice colors and the crispness, it tricks the brain in thinking it's still daylight. And so if you ever notice that you can watch one movie after another, and you're like, man, I feel like I'm still awake. I can't believe it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Or you're playing games, and then all of a sudden the time just, you've been on playing games for 3 or 4 hours. Um, or whatever, or you're on a meeting, or you're doing a Zoom conference with people, or you're meeting with friends via Zoom. You'll start noticing that your sleep cycle is off because the brain is being tricked that it's still daylight, and so we're not producing a lot of melanin. And then our eating patterns are changing. So now when we're stressed, we're going to do what's called self-soothing behaviors. So one of the things is that we may start emotionally eating because for comfort. So we're going to eat our stress. And we might do what we call mindless eating. Or I'm stressed and I need something to soothe me. And so it's one of our self-soothing behaviors. The other self-soothing behaviors is we're going to shop it. Oh, I'm really stressed out. Oh my gosh, I can't get out of this house. I'm about to, but you know what? I can get on that computer and I can do some online shopping, or go out to the store and just actually, the stores are open, so we can go out there. And so those are what we call self-soothing behaviors. The other ones are we're going to be smoking it, we're going to be drinking it, we're going to work long hours just so I can not have to deal with my stressors, because I may be stuck in the house with a spouse that we're not getting along very well because we're underneath each other all the time. Um, Forgetfulness is another one. So part of one of our stressors is we're noticing that we're forgetting things. I may walk in the room and be like, oh gosh, what did I come in the room for? I can't believe I forgot. Or I might put my keys down and I don't remember where I put my keys. Or me this morning, ran out the house, forgot my cell phone. So I had to turn back around real quick to get it. And so forgetfulness is one of the signs of stress. And then just kind of feeling out of sorts. You don't feel like yourself. Like, I don't, I might be having some mild symptoms of depression. I just don't feel like me, but like, you know what? I'm not as motivated as I want. Even going to work, even if I'm working from home, I'm dragging. I'm like pulling myself out of bed. I'm feeling tired a lot. Just little things just wear you out. And then just that sense of sadness because I don't get to connect with or do things that I like to do, that I enjoy doing. These might be my normal things when I want to cope with my stressors. These are things that I used to do, and now it's kind of like taken away from me, and I don't have a choice. And so, one of the things we have to um, be aware of is like that we may be feeling this external local of control. Now that means that, things are happening to me and I don't feel like I have any control of what's happening. I don't have control over the media. I don't have control over what my friends are doing or not doing. I don't have control over this pandemic. I don't have any control over the social unrest. I don't have control over the political climate. So there's a lot of things that are outside of our control that we feel that, yeah, it's impacting me, but I don't have any control over what is happening. Okay. And so to be able to start managing through this, we want to be able to have what's called an internal local of control. Now, that's a belief that I have control over what is happening to me. So it's about being able to look at what I have control over in my life and not necessarily focus on what I don't have control over. I already know these things exist, and I'm not putting a blind eye to it or saying, oh, these negative things are not happening. They are, but it's like, what can I do about it? I can't stop the pandemic. If you're a planner, this really is just like, it makes people anxious because it's like I can't plan ahead because I don't know. There's this unknown. We don't know how long this is going to last, and so we're just living with these little question marks. And so for a person who's a planner, it's hard for them to be able, I don't know how to plan for next month. And I've heard that a lot. People feel like if their hands are tied and it making them very anxious. And so one of the couple of things that I want to now talk about is how to regain some of that control during this pandemic and how to be able to manage this new normal that we're in. Because even how we are gathering for church, I mean, my church, we're still online because we're a pretty nice sized church. And so we still have to meet online and be able to worship online. And so even that's different. I never thought the day I'll be, in in church and I'm in shorts and a t-shirt and I don't get to wear my Sunday best. So a couple of things I want to be able to share with you on just being able to cope with this pandemic and our new norm, is number one, having a positive attitude. Now, again, we're in this like negative based society. So this could be a challenge to say, well, how do I look at the things that are very positive? I turn on the TV and there's, you know, uh, the president, spilling out all of these things, and he's cutting the unemployment, and he's doing this, and so and then we have the social unrest, and I'm stuck at home and I don't get to do the things that I want to do. So how, having that positive attitude, it's a challenge, but everything is not bad and everything is not good. So being able to look at some of the positive things that's going in life as well as the negative, that's what we call mental balancing. I want to be able to have not only look at the negative, but the positive too. And of course, we got to, following the CDC health recommendations, being able to, wash your hands regularly, being able to maintain your social distance, wearing your mask when you're out in public, so that not only that protects you, but the people around you. That's the importance of it. Being able to maintain that social distance practicing in daily life. Now it is a killer because I'm a hugger. I like to hug people. And so not being able to do that, I'm learning how to do the elbow bump and the fist bump and the air hugs. And so, but being able to maintain that social distancing. And I know I have to do this not only to protect myself, but to protect other people. Turning off the news before it starts creating that level of stress and anxiety. Again, too much of anything is not good. So instead, sometimes I have to substitute that news for something that's more comical, start watching something comical or educational and just changing the narrative, because we have to be careful what we're putting in our environment, because that's like it's like a diet for ourselves. We Our diet is not just what we ingest in as far as food, but it's also what we're taking in our environment. So sometimes I have to be able to turn that news off and just say, okay, you know what? Let me turn on something that's a little bit more light. Okay. Being able to limit my social media consumption. I go in there, hey, whose birthday? And then I'm out of there. And so that I'm not getting sucked into a lot of the negative narrative that's on there. And there's a saying that says, if you want to be happy, you make other people happy. And so being able to act with kindness and grace, being able to do something for other people, be it a neighbor that has a hard time going out to the grocery store, or just being able to just help, other people around you that's not able to do anything. I know when I make a BJ run, I'm always texting my neighbor, hey, anybody need something for BJ's? Because I know everybody's not able to get out and to go to the grocery store, be it they don't have their ride or anything, or I know that they're limited on their funds. And so I will do that for my neighbors. I just passed a church earlier today, and they're giving out free haircuts every Wednesday, and they have a sign out. I know that several churches this weekend did school backpack giveaways, for school supplies. So being able to act kindness and grace, calling someone. I have my prayer partner, and so we stay in prayer, and we check on each other to make sure that we're good. And so being able to call friends I haven't talked to in a while, and family members that there are. I have family all over the place, and being able just to touch base with family, um, just so I can have that connection. Okay. And being able to step, one thing about the COVID-19 or this new norm that we're in, it really forces you to be creative and to step outside your comfort zone. And so being able to find fun activities to do while you're at home during the quarantine, or while you quarantine yourself. And so being able to connect with some things that, I haven't done these things in a long time. And let me just introduce myself back to some activities that I used to do, or being able to find some other activities that I have not ever done and didn't even think about it. And so being able to just to kind of like, again, being creative. I saw this post where it said, one of the worst things that we bought for 2020 is a calendar. you know, because our time just seems to be a little warped. But again, we still have some things that are normal. And being able again to focus on what you can control. I may not be able. My grandmother turned 95 this year, and one of the things I had planned to um, fly back up to New York, to Connecticut, to spend time with my grandmother for her birthday. Unfortunately, that was one of those things, and we didn't have any control over. So we learned how to do a Zoom party for her. And so being able to kind of look outside our norm to be able to get some things done may not be what I'm used to, but you know, there's a thing. Something is better than nothing at all. Okay. Um, Practicing gratitude. Start your day off with a reflection of thankfulness, with prayer. Setting a good mood can help set your tone for your day. So if I start off with a good mood, then everything that can bring me down, it takes longer for me to get stressed out. And so being able to focus on what I already have, look at what I already have. We always looking for the next thing, the next best thing, what's next rolling out, instead of just sometimes just taking a breath. Let me exhale and say, you know what? Look at all the things I've been blessed with. Hmm, wow. And being able just to be, just to have that gratitude. So start off with something or meditation. So starting off with something very positive in my day. And then before I go to bed, in my day with something positive. And so that I have synergy throughout my day. Okay. Routine and productivity. Now, one thing about this pandemic, and it really has disrupted a lot of people's daily routine. So again, some people are not actually going out to work or leaving the home to go to work. They're like having to work from home, or now there's a shift. Now that we're starting to go back to the office. And so, um, and then with the summer break, the kids are not on a routine and trying to sort everything out. So one of the things is to be able to set a routine. And this also helps if you're having problems sleeping, is because we're not as active as we used to. So being able to say, okay, what are some things I can get done? And so especially if you goal oriented or you're a planner, I can plan my day. I may not be able to plan for next month, but I can plan for today. What's my day going to look like? And so being able to stick to a routine is very important because we're rhythmic as people. And so being able to say, well, this is my time I get up, this is my time I go to bed, and these are some things I can do in between that. But you also got to be flexible because life does happen. And so I may have something I have planned to do, and then the kids need me, or my spouse need me, or my parents need me, or something of that nature. And so I have to be flexible with life because life is not so black and white. Making sure that you take breaks and have some downtime. Everything. I don't want to be able to start working these long hours. And again, with this blue light from coming from my screen, next thing I know, I'm working, my 40-hour workday has become 70 hours and 80 hours. And so I'm working longer hours. And sometimes we do that just to kind of like, oh, I don't want to deal with all the stuff that's stressing me out. So I get involved. But, and we'll just go nonstop. But it's important to be able to have those breaks. That makes us more productive. If you're in school, you're in college, it's important to have those breaks because that gives the brain a chance to breathe, just to breathe. And so, and being able to just kind of like reset and kind of being able to process all the things that you just kind of taken in. Because, when we don't do that, it's like we are reading, and then I'm just like, what did I just read? Or what did I just do? And then we start making mistakes. And so having even those inactive breaks to say, you know what, Saturday, that's my I'm do nothing day. And it's okay. Let me just relax and chill. And if I don't want to do nothing but listen to music all day or veg off the television all day, or just go somewhere totally different, down to the beach or whatever, just to be able to have some downtime. And that's very important. And then times of high stress and anxiety, we want to be able to go and get some movement. That exercise is really important. Even being able to burn off the cortisone, which is the buildup when we're stressed, to be able to have some of that endorphins go. So even if you're just feeling really anxious or you're feeling sluggish or non-motivating, just to get up and do a 15-minute power walk. 7 minutes up, 7 minutes back, 7.5 minutes up and back. And so that you're getting some movement, making sure you're getting some exercise in, and that can help boost your energy to your brain and lower your emotional stress levels. And then getting that connection. So even that social distancing, You know, even though it makes you feel disconnected, but being able to look for ways to get connected to your friends and your family, because we are built to be social people. That's one of our hierarchies of need. And so when we're not socializing, we're isolating, that can lead to a lot of depression. Okay. And then being able to eat well, that's important. And so being able to watch your diet, because there's been a lot of research that's that show when we're eating a lot of high processed food. Yeah, unfortunately, that's our nice fried chicken and our cakes and our pies and our cookies and all those good things. Um, but you know, you got to remember whatever we're ingesting, it goes throughout our whole body. And so one of the things is processed food also has a lot to do with our mental health. And so you want to be able to start eating balanced meals, which is important. And everything in moderation. So even if I did have that cookie, let me just have that one cookie, one cookie, because I can sit there and do this mindless eating, and next thing I know, I've ate a whole package of cookies, my favorite chocolate chip, and, and that's not good. So being able to get food in that it's great for my body is important, because that helps me not only with my immune system. So if you notice that the limitation when you go to the grocery store, and some grocery stores, they're limiting how much vegetables or frozen vegetables you can get. It's because that people are now being more educated that the healthier that you eat, the better your immune system. It helps build up your immune system. It helps you feel better. And so, and sometimes this is just a gradual thing. It's not the all overnight change. That's why New Year's resolutions do not work well. And so sometimes it's about, hey, you know what? Let me just start off with one healthy meal a day, and then being able just to substitute it throughout time. And then, after a month of that, then I'm substituted for two healthy meals in my day and a healthy snack. And so it's just kind of a gradual thing that you start adding in your diet. And because when we try to do things overnight, we're not computers, and so we can't program ourselves to say, okay, well, now I'm gonna start eating healthy. But the more you can start implementing good fresh vegetables and fruit, and at least having some fresh vegetables and fruit in your diet, the better. And better for your mental health as well. And some lean meats. Mhm. If you're not vegan or vegetarian. And making sure you're getting some protein, which is very important. Um, and then getting some professional help if you need it. Because some people are just, their anxiety, they're sitting home, and so some unresolved issues starts to creep in because I don't have, I'm not as active as I used to be, and so things that I try to repress, they start coming to the forefront, and being triggered. Um, and so I have seen a lot of that since this pandemic has started, since March, that has started happening. So it's not abnormal for that to happen, because normally we know now how active we were before this pandemic. And with the pandemic that's slowing everything down, I mean, we can't travel like we would like to travel. And, now you got to call ahead, make sure we don't have to be in quarantine for 14 days, things of that nature. And so, we're kind of like almost stuck, you know, a little bit, but um, we're not normal. Use that to normal. Sometimes it's just to get out of the house, just go in the car, and maybe travel to a different part of the town that you haven't visited in a while, just to kind of just go out there and look, see what's new, what's changed. I was really kind of taken back when I went to Regency Mall to see just the large amount of changes that has undergone since I first got to Jacksonville. And so sometimes it's just to get out to the park, just getting around some fresh air, getting out of that house. I may not be able to go into the nursing homes, but I may be able to um, go to the window, or maybe just be able to call or text, and just to stay in contact. So again, a little something is better than nothing at all. There was a quote by Steve Jobs. It says, "Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living the result of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary." So I'm saying this quote by Steve Jobs because one of the other biggest thing um, with coping with this pandemic is being able to say no. And so I know I talked about helping others, but in the same sense, we also want to be able to pour back into yourself. So being able to have that balance, and balance is very important. And so being able to say no, which is a complete sentence, when people are trying to add more to your plate than you can handle, or people try and manipulate you, make you feel bad because you won't help them do, or you won't do. Um, and so being able to set those boundaries is very important. It's important even before the pandemic, is definitely important during the pandemic, and even after this pandemic, because it will end. It's still important. So think about it like this: setting your boundaries is an important part of your self-care, being able to have that in place. Um, and so that you're not living somebody else's life. This is a great time. You know, why I have the time, there might be some goals that you want to do for your own life that you can now be able to say, oh, you know what? This is a great time to be able to look at my vision board, put my vision board together, or being able to write down what I want that goal to look like. And so and what I can do, what control can I do about my goal today? What can I get done about it? So that it's not just $1 million idea sitting on a piece of paper, that this is something I can actually start implementing in my life. But you want to make sure that it's something that you want to do in your life and not what somebody else wanted to do for you. All right. So I'm going to end with the 20 ways to live your best life mentally healthy. You are, number one, you are responsible for your own happiness. All right. I am not responsible to make everybody else happy, nor do I have that kind of control. Right. Remember, we talked about control and what we can control and what we cannot control. Number two, live every day on a fresh new start. Again, I'm going to wake up with and think about what's positive. Think about what I'm grateful for. So we don't want to be held back by what happened yesterday, the day before, the week before, the year before, or even decades ago. Life is short, so live in the present moment. Try new things. Again, get outside your comfort zone. I may not have ever tried gardening. Let me go out and try gardening. Let me camping in my backyard. Let me try a new recipe. Let me try cooking. And so just being able, or even if I'm going to work, let me try a different route. Or let me study something, or learn a new skill. Or if I love to travel, let me look at some things. I may not be able to travel right now, but I can go on there and be able to look at some places that I would love to travel, places I didn't even know exist. Okay. Be true to who you are. Stop trying to please other people or trying to be someone else. It's better to be the original version of yourself rather than to be an exact duplicate of someone else. Self-reflection, right? Again, practice gratitude. Be grateful for everything you have today and everything you will get in the future, everything that God's going to bless you for in the future. Express your gratitude. Let the people know who've touched you, know that your gratitude toward them. This is a great time to say, you know what, I really appreciate, my old college roommate, because they really helped me out during some tough time. They really kicked my butt when I was just ready to give up. Let me take this time out to express my gratitude. Okay. You'll be surprised what a little act like this can do. If you don't tell them, they'll never know. Be proactive. Stop waiting around for others to do things, something that to around you to do something. Let me start that again. Stop waiting for others around you to do something and take action yourself instead. So I may not be actively at their marching with the protesters, but I can help register people to vote. But I don't want to wait around and say, well, why are people, doing a voter's drive? I can do that myself. Right? Rather than to think, what if, think next time. And this is why we're talking about your goals. Don't think about things you can't change, namely what has happened and other people's thoughts or unhappy things, because these are disempowering. Instead, focus on the things you can take action on, the most constructive thing you can do in any situation. Again, focus on what you can control. Live more consciously each day. Stop sleepwalking through life. Your life is something to be experienced, not coast through. Live in alignment with your purpose. What can you start doing immediately that will let you live 100% in alignment with your purpose? How can you live true to your purpose within every situation you are in, every second of the day? Whatever I do, can I put it on the billboard for everybody to see? And I have no qualms about it. Right? Set your goals. After you design your ideal life, set your 5-year, 3-year, and 1-year goals. The more specific they are, the better. Know your inner self. This means knowing who you are and what you represent. We always talk about generational curse or generational what else did they say? Generational curses or generational behaviors that are bad, but we don't ever talk about generational legacies and the positive things that we can pass on generational. So be clear of your personal identity. Do the things that you love, because life is too precious to be doing anything else. If you don't enjoy something, then don't do it. Spend your time and energy on things that bring you fulfillment and happiness. Challenge your fears. All of us have fears of uncertainty, fears of public speaking, fears of risk. All of these fears will keep you in the same position and prevent us from growing. Rather than avoid your fears, recognize that they are the compass for growth. Address and overcome them. Be compassionate. Show compassion and kindness to everyone around you. Stop putting life on hold. Are you putting any parts of your life on hold? What is the one area of your life you've been putting off, avoiding, or denying? Uncover that and start working on it as much as you can. So again, what can I control today? What aspect of my life can I do today? Let go. Let go of unhappy past. This means past grievances, heartbreaks, sadness, disappointments, and anger. Let go of attachments. Don't get fixated with achieving a certain status, fame, wealth, or material possessions. These are impermanent and will ultimately disappear one day when you die. Focus on growing and living life to the fullest instead. Let go of relationships that do not serve you. This means negative people, dishonest people, people who don't respect you, people who are overly critical, and relationships that prevent you from growing. Spend more time with people who enable you. Watch who you have part of your tribe. Declutter. Start from your computer and then proceed to your work desk, your bedroom, and your home. When you throw unwanted stuff away, you make room for new things and new energy to enter your life. And a declutter environment means means a declutter mind. So we are attached again. Part of what we are ingesting is part of our environment. Forgive those who have done you wrong in the past. This includes backstabbers, those who took credit for your achievements, and those who have done you wrong. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and realize it was you. Be empathic or empathetic. If everyone only see life from his or her own perspective, we will forever be closed-minded and insular. See things from others' shoes. Develop 100% self-belief. Believe in yourself and your abilities. This is a great time to start developing or honing in on your abilities. Remove limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering one. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect others to believe in you? And that is all I have for this evening.
Wow. I was sitting here talking to my wife and just kind of going over your recommendations and suggestions, and grateful that our church is offering this with more than just kind of a one-time thing, but the constant recapitulating of these things. So thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. You are an honorary St. Paulian for the next few months until we can get through this. So I will make sure that Dr. Diamond knows that we are sharing you from the backside, but we understand. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. We want to take a couple of minutes now, and we want to, while you're processing this, because of this election, and one of the things, she talked about was just the stress of the culture, the uncertainty of the political climate. And so one of our deacons has become extremely active in the political culture in the Clay County area, and he is he's actually a delegate to the convention. He's actually a delegate to the convention, and so he will be virtually in the convention all week. And so he's taking time out of his busy convention schedule. And I hope most of us will go and listen to Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders tonight. But we're going to turn over for a few minutes to Deacon Larry Brown, who's going to share a PowerPoint on mail-in voting so we can correct the foolishness. And so he's going to do it today. We're going to create a couple of more opportunities for him to do mail-in voting. It's on Facebook Live, so we're going to encourage people to watch it. And so, Larry, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Bishop. I really do appreciate that. And Dr. Meyer Wilson, I just want to thank you for the information that you provided. That information was great. I needed that information for my spirit as well. And I know that I can basically take that information and move forward with it in trying to help gain my lifestyle and correct my lifestyle, especially as it pertains to eating well and things of that nature and helping to sleep better. So great. And like I said, with my St. Paul family, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to talk about something that is very important and near and dear to my heart, which is vote by mail. I am working actively with the Clay County Democratic Election Committee to get out the vote by mail. And one thing that we have done and that they've put in our delegate meeting this morning is that we have registered more, I think it was 35,000 more Democrats than Republicans for vote by mail. So that is huge. So this is something that Republicans have always taken advantage of in the past. And now that we're finally, I guess, due to COVID, this is something that is more important to us. So we want to make sure that everyone is healthy, everyone stays safe, as well as exercising their vote. So without further ado, if you could just pull that up for me, Pastor Cotton. Okay, so there are several things that we can do. And here's some of the, I know you've heard all the craziness on TV about how voting by mail is corrupt and people can just go and take votes and just throw them in the mailbox and people will just get them and you can start collect them and things of that nature. I'm gonna be honest with you, none of that stuff is true. In fact, if you can go to the next slide for me. Pastor Cotton?
Yes, sir. The next slide is up.
Oh, I can't see it. I'm sorry. You know what? Let's just do it. Now, most of the information that I have in here, there we go. Can you move to the next slide, or am I controlling it? Okay.
So I just made you the host. Can you control it now?
Let's see. I can't move it to the next slide. Oh, hold on. Let's see. No, it's not letting me grab it. Can you enable editing on it? On the presentation itself?
You're the host now, so
okay.
I don't have any control.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Just bear with me here for a second. Let me see if I can move these slides. I think you still have the presentation up on your computer.
Okay, which slide you want? I have a slide that says. Which slide you want me to go to?
Just the next one, the one that has the vote on it.
Where it says Voting in America?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's up.
Okay, I'm still seeing the first one, so I'm not sure. Oh, so basically Vote by America, I'm just gonna wing it from what I got here, and as he goes through it, because I don't have much time and I want to go ahead and get you guys going. So basically in America, as far as vote by mail goes, it is very safe, it is very convenient, and you don't have, and especially during COVID right now, you don't have to actually go out the house. So one of the best things you can do is, man, I wish I could move this slide so I can see it better.
Do you want to pull up yours and I can take this one down?
The thing is, I'm on my computer upstairs and it's on my laptop downstairs. So that is the issue that I'm having right now. So what I can do is, let's see, did that do something? No, it's just playing with my computer here. I'm gonna just put the information out, even though it's on the presentation here. If you want, you can share the presentation, Pastor Cotton, with everybody, and I'll just get the information out. I'll just go ahead and put the information out. So here it is in a nutshell. Vote by mail is very safe. It is very convenient, and you can do it. And all the information that you need, you can be picked up by your supervisor of elections office, or you can actually go onto the websites. Okay, so basically what you want to do is simply, if you want to vote by mail, and like I said, it is very safe. There's no issues of corruption or anything of that nature, or things of that nature. So all you have to really do is go to for Duval County, you just go to duvalelections.com. And on that website, there's a part there that says vote by mail. And all you do is you just click on that, and that takes you exactly to where you need to go. And you just follow the prompts in order to get your ballot and vote by mail. Now, here's the thing. Once you put it in the system should send you something in your email, basically telling you that they receive your vote by mail request. Now, the vote by mail is done for every 2 election cycles. So the next election cycle, which would be 2020, and then the following election cycle, which would be 2022. So those 2 cycles are covered once you go on to vote by mail. Now, after that, if you want to continue, then you have to re-up for vote by mail. So once you get that, within 5 weeks before the election actually happens, so we have primaries tomorrow, and then we have the general November 3rd. So 5 weeks prior to the 5 weeks prior to the general, which is on November 3rd, you should get in the mail your actual ballot. Now, once you get your ballot, what I am suggesting people to do is to go ahead, fill it out, and put it in the mail immediately. That way, you know it can be counted, and you can also track it, because they have the same thing there in Duval County. They actually have on the website where when you go to duvalelections.com, you can actually go there, and there's a button there that says track my vote. So basically, once you mail it out, I say give them about 5 to 7 days. Then go on the website, and it'll tell you exactly if your vote has been received by the supervisor elections and it's actually been counted. That is the best way to do it. Now, they have the same thing in Clay County as well. It's clayelections.gov. It's the same process. You go to the website, you can go on there to request your mail-in ballot. Once you get it, you get an email saying that they receive your request. You get your mail-in ballot up to 5 weeks prior to the general election, fill it out, and send it back in. Now, a lot of people say, okay, so what will happen if my vote, I don't want to do mail-in ballot because they don't collect them and they don't count. And, there's no way to ensure that my ballot gets thrown away. That's why I'm glad that Duval and Clay has to track your ballot. Now, with everything that's going on now with the post office and everything, I know they're trying to slow the mail down. So if you do decide that you want to vote by mail, and I highly encourage that during this pandemic, especially if you have underlying medical conditions that could lead to complications, I highly encourage you to go in and sign up for it and get your ballot. And as soon as you get it in the mail, go ahead and fill it out, especially if you know who you're voting for. Go ahead and fill it out, send it in. Now, here's one of the things that, let's say, I know one question somebody popped up and said, well, how do you know my vote is not going to count? Well, there's 2 ways your vote won't count. One is if your signature doesn't match, and 2, if you just don't vote at all. So what I am urging everyone to do is when you go in and do your vote by mail request on duvalelections.com or clayelections.gov, look at your driver's license. Look at the signature on your driver's license. That's what they use to verify your signature on your ballot. Sign your name. If they both match, you're good. If they don't, please, 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 please on the website there, go in there and request to update your signature. I highly request anybody to do that if your signatures don't match. If they look kind of funny to you, do it anyway. Once your system updates your signature and you put your ballot in, that is a guarantee that your ballot will be counted once they receive it at the supervisor of elections. Now, the last thing is you want to do is, and this is another thing that I'm advising people and what they're telling us as delegates. If you, let's say you get your ballot on October 3rd, you put your ballot in the mail October 4th, you wait, you don't get anything. Probably by, I think early vote opens up October 16th or 17th, somewhere around in that area. If you don't get anything by the 20th, saying that, you know, as you're tracking your ballot, if you don't see your ballot being tracked or it hasn't been received by the supervisor of elections, if you are able, and if you are able to, and you have the transportation, go early vote. Early vote is going to be very essential this year. I've been working as a deputy for early voting here in Clay County. I can tell you that it's a lot of, you know, as far as the lines, there's usually no lines. You go in, you vote, you come back out. A lot of people, the most time they take is about 5 to 10 minutes. That's the easiest thing to do. If you are not able to early vote, then on the election day, I always tell people, if you still don't see your ballot counted online, go to the polls. Go to the polls, go to the polls, go to the polls. That's the best way to do it. But as far as the vote by mail, with everything that we have going on right now, I have looked at this, I have studied this, I've gotten all the facts and the whole 9 yards, and I can assure you that voting by mail is the safest way we can do it. And even with COVID-19 right now, that's something that, you know, I'm concerned, as well as the delegates for the Democratic delegates across the country, they're concerned too, because they don't want people to contract the virus by standing in line, just like they did in Wisconsin when they forced them to go and do the primary vote, you know, in person. Most of them had masks on, most of them didn't. So we are very concerned about people going out to vote and want to do it in a safe manner. And if you have any questions, I know Bishop Guns has my information, as well as the church has my information. You can go ahead and put them in contact with me, and I'll be more than happy to address any questions that you have. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. I surely do appreciate it.
Well, first of all, we thank you and Pastor Cotton for enduring the technology stuff that comes with it on these Zooms. But I want to do this again in the next couple of weeks, because I think this is so important. And maybe even on our virtual services, maybe take a 2-3 minute window and do it on our virtual services, just so we can get the word out. Thank you, Deacon Brown. The fact that you reached out to me about this and you were so adamant in a positive way that this information needs to get out. And I'm appreciative again. Our church is staying on the cutting edge of information. And so we're grateful. Every third Monday, we will have Let's Talk with Dr. Mia Wilson. And we want to say thank you, Dr. Wilson, for tonight. Incredible information. Do you want to give us like a closing thought and maybe some kind of highlight or trailer for next month?
Well, Bishop, I have to look at our list of what you want to talk
Yes,
about.
ma'am.
So I haven't got that yet, but just wanted to hope. But I will have something good for you guys. But I just wanted to remind you to, make sure that you be kind to yourself and be kind to one another, and be able to take care of one another. I know this is rough times. This is very different times, but again, focus on what you can control now, and being able to do that self-care is so important. So important.
Thank you so much. If for next month, I do have a request. If you could next month go back over those 20 things
Sure.
and then maybe even put it up on the screen so we can see it and capture it. I would be, because I was trying to keep up. A lot of it, again, is stuff that some of us probably know or have heard, but to hear it again and then to be educated on it by someone who is truly a professional and is one of our partners texted me and said, "Wow, I just went to her a few weeks ago, and she said, and she is great." So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, again, we thank you so much. Everybody, keep growing, keep doing your best. Thank you as well, Deacon Brown. Knowledge is power, and in this season, we need to be knowledgeable. Let's not drink the Kool-Aid because it's bitter. Let's not drink the Kool-Aid because it's bitter. All right. Be blessed, everybody. Stay healthy, stay connected, and take the advice of our church therapist. How about that? All right. Love you guys so much. Pastor G and I say, love you. And we'll be on prayer tomorrow at 6:00. Amen, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.